Hi, it's me, Dr. Shawn Horn. I want to share with you some thoughts I have about resilience with our children right now. If you're like me, I'm 50, and so I'm Generation X, and I have children that are 21, 23. If you are in my age category, you, like me, got trained in this idea or programmed in this idea that if we follow this recipe, and we are giving our children everything they need, that they're going to be resilient. They're going to have everything they need to take on the world, all the internal traits of their character and their emotions, their self-esteem, their self-confidence is going to be so secure that they're going to have all of the best opportunities in life and advantages. However, one of the things that we're finding is that those that followed the recipe didn't get those results. And I see this a lot in my work in with clients and from hearing also my viewers and the audience that listens to me share with me their confusion about why are things so hard or why are these kids struggling. And the other complication to this is that in the mental health field, we have all been trained to believe that if you did do good parenting, your children are going to be psychologically healthy. Their mental health, their relationships, their job, their work ethic, their approach to education, career, all that stuff is going to be really healthy. And if it's not, if this child does not have good adult child, does not have good self-esteem or self-confidence, or isn't successful in one of those areas, or has repeated difficulties, then there must be a reason that we can identify from their history, either due to their attachment with their parents, or they had trauma, or they had something negative happen to them. Negative circumstances, negative outcome. Positive circumstances, positive outcome. But when it doesn't quite measure up like that, when we look at the person's life and we think, I can't find trauma, I can't find these difficulties, then we as medical professionals jump to a medical reason for why the person is struggling the way they are. So it must be that they have a mental health problem, some chemical imbalance, or something genetic that is going on that has resulted in these difficulties. So then they're diagnosed, they're medicated, and things just get worse and worse. I have a theory on this, and my theory is that the recipe didn't work. It just didn't work. And in fact, it may have harmed our children. What we're learning right now is that we want our kids to have what they call grit. And grit comes from working through difficult circumstances. We get grit when we've had hardships, when we had to figure things out, when we suffered and we struggled, but we got through it and we succeeded. This develops a resilience in us, a sense that I can affect my world, I can create what I want, and I'm strong and I'm capable. And what we're finding is that those children that were given ideal circumstances, they did not develop certain kinds of grit that when they're exposed to those hardships and those difficult things, their resilience is not what we expect. And they begin to really struggle. And we wonder, why is this person not weathering this storm as effectively or as successfully as we would expect given their circumstances? So I like to think of like your feet. If you have been walking barefoot, you can step on a rock and it's like, oh, ouch, that hurt, but no big deal. But imagine if you had never walked barefoot, how tender your feet would be. That when the moment you step on a hard surface or a hot surface, like it would hurt. And you would have this very strong reaction. So I want to share this with you to equip you with a skill set or a mindset to help you with this, because another important variable is when the child is in that really special place, that zone of developing their sense of self. So let's say the kid goes off to college, or they're a teenager, they're becoming a young adult, and they have a life circumstance that they have not had to go through before, and they begin to really crump out, really struggle. and they go to their family and they're emotionally dysregulated. And the family, it scares them. They go, oh my gosh, I have protected this child their whole life. And now they have the circumstance. What is this going to mean? What does this mean for the kid? So it's just like when a child falls down on the ground and they get up and they look at you and you are calm and you go, you know what? We've got this. You can do this. We've got this. That helps the kid to get up and to be okay. But if the parent like freaks out and goes, oh my gosh, like this is really bad. I think this is bad. What's happened? The child gets alarmed. So here we have this young adult who doesn't have a sense of themselves yet. And they go to this parent that really tried to protect them and shelter them. And the parent gets alarmed. And then they go see a medical professional who goes, this doesn't fit the typical formula because you had good circumstances. So why is this not a good outcome? It must be that there's something wrong with you. And then the parents go, well, it must be. And then the adult child who doesn't have a sense of themselves yet goes, oh my gosh, something's wrong with me. And here it begins to take on a life of its own. And if you then give them medication, and let's say you give them antidepressants, but that's not what the problem is, then they get maybe serotonin syndrome. So they start having severe anxiety and panic attacks. And then they go to the doctor and they get more medication. And then next thing you know, oh, they must be bipolar or borderline. It gets really messy. So here's what you need to know is one, good circumstances don't always equal or cause a good outcome. In fact, it can inhibit the development of grit. Now, don't go out there and make your kids suffer and do all that, but know that it's good for them to work through some storms. Because when we do, we know that just like the sky remains blue regardless of the circumstance, that we will be okay regardless of the circumstance. And it's very important that they get this message, that they have what they need to get through that storm. And if they don't, we will equip you. That's what you want to seek out, is the actual equipping, giving you tools, giving you skills to help you think differently, to help you put it in perspective, and to give you resources that will help you fix whatever's going on at that time. And one of those tools is what they call co-regulating with your loved one, which means you can regulate your emotion in the midst of their dysregulation. That's a whole other talk. But this is a skill, being able to hold space and having self-compassion, having compassion for their journey and not getting too alarmed, and knowing that this is developmental. This is a developmentally typical struggle. And also that just because you had a trauma or you had a misfortunate experience or life event, this does not define you. It doesn't define you or what's possible in your life or what's possible in your future. So parents know that just the struggle does not define your child, nor does it define you. And that there still is hope every day. Every day that we wake up, we have a new opportunity to do things new, to practice new skills, and to become more masterful at living this life. What are your thoughts about this? I would love to hear your comments. So please comment below. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and check out our Shame Sister channel, the Shame Sisters, that I'm doing with Nicole Mischke, a journalist, and we're starting to bring and highlight stories of shame. So I hope you'll join us over there and maybe come over to my website and sign up and subscribe so you can get the latest news. I hope this was helpful, and thank you so much for joining me.